This is so annoying. Can't imagine what federal government just introduced that will make Nigerians' lives so miserable. Can you imagine? Federal government introduces toll plazas. Nigerians to pay 500 and 200 naira per trip. Can you imagine that? Let's listen to the details of what exactly that warranted this payment of toll plazas and the reason why federal government reannounces this. The federal government and the Federal Executive Council has approached the reintroduction of toll collections on some selected dual carriageways across the country. This as it exempted diplomatic, military, paramilitary vehicles, tricycles, motorcycles from the scheme. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola also disclosed this on Wednesday while briefing the State House correspondents at the end of the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The decision was made almost 2 decades after Olusegun Obasanjo's administration dismantled all toll plazas on federal roads across the country in 2003. Fashola said that his ministry presented a memo which the council approved to reintroduce toll gates on dual carriageways of the 35-kilometer federal roads. These roads, he explained, amounted to only 14.3% of the entire 35,000 kilometer stretch of federal roads that were dual carriageways and would be eligible for tolling, with vehicles paying between 200 and 500 naira per trip, depending on their brand, while diplomatic, military, paramilitary, as well as tricycles and motorcycles would be exempted. The minister added that dual carriageways represented only 5,050 kilometers out of the total 35,000 kilometers. He said that so the total network of roads today, assuming we wanted to start today, which we are not, that will be eligible for tolling on the federal network, and it would be 14.3% of the total network. So 85.27% will not be eligible for tolling. We have seen that most of those dual carriageways also have alternative roads, but they are single carriageways. That is why we left them. So the only exception to single carriageway are some bridges, and they as listed in the regulation. The minister said with the FEC approving the reintroduction of toll plazas on selected roads, it was now working modalities to determine how soon the tolling system would take off. He said the Ministry of Works and Housing represented a policy memorandum for the approval of federal roads, bridges tolling policy, and also a regulation that will provide a legal framework for the tolling policy. So, we have taken another step. So, let me be clear. Tolls are not going to start tomorrow. So, let us be clear about that. Fashola stressed that the opening tolling system to be introduced would not commence until the affected roads were motorable, while operational agreements would have been negotiated with relevant government agencies. The minister also said that the toll collected would not only be used to maintain the roads, but would also be used to construct new ones, while the toll system would be electronically driven for transparency. Fashola noted that federal government consulted widely with public and private sector stakeholders before agreeing to reintroduce toll on federal highways. The Federal Executive Council also approved 2.54 million US dollars and 498.23 million US dollar for 4 projects in the Ministry of Power. The Minister of Power, Shale Maman, disclosed this on Wednesday to Start House. He said that the Federal Ministry of Power also received the blessing of the Federal Executive Council by providing for approvals for our contracts. One is the supply and installation of the motorized portable hydraulic compressor for the Transmission Company of Nigeria in favor of MES Inter Equipment Nigeria Limited for 502.950 US dollars plus 15,800 naira. The second approval was also received for the award of the contract for the supply and delivery of 3 sets of online partial discharge measurement and monitoring equipment for the TCN in favor of MES T&D Technology Limited in a sum of 874,800 US dollars offshore plus 240,000 onshore with a delivery period of months. Thank you, viewers, for listening to this news. Wow, you can imagine. I know that all these toll gates will be destroyed if Nnamdi Kanu is not released. This is what is going to happen. They are building toll gates and all of that. While Nnamdi Kanu is in the custody, DSS custody, they're not even bringing it, looking for or even introducing any solution to remove Nnamdi Kanu from DSS custody. They're talking about building roads, building toll gates. You can imagine. I said it before and I'll keep saying that this toll gate will be destroyed if Nnamdi Kanu is not released from DSS custody. So viewers, what is your take on this?